Philosophy, the ancient world, until before the year of 250 BCE. Number is the ruler of forms and ideas. Pythagoras, ancient Greece, 570 to 495 BCE. Today, more than ever, the idea that everything is related to mathematics is common. However, this was not always like that. As you may know, the different regions of Greek culture were full of diverse myths and legends through which people explained the world around them. But still, in Miletus, a thinker called Thales had begun to search for a logical understanding of the world. It was just a while after that Pythagoras grew up. To be honest, not much is known for sure about his life. Many believe that at some point Pythagoras made a trip to one of the most prosperous regions in the area, Egypt. In this ancient region, architecture was a very important aspect, so through observation, the Egyptians had developed the basis of what we know today as geometry. During his stay, Pythagoras became fascinated by the way mathematics could create shapes. The Egyptians, for example, had already discovered the properties of the right triangle with sides 3, 4, and 5, but apparently they did not know why this was true. This is because they were only observing it through experience. However, Pythagoras believed that it was not enough to observe, but also to reason. Possibly after some time studying the triangle, he discovered what we know today as the Pythagorean theorem, which demonstrated through mathematics why these properties were true, and it also expanded the rule to any other type of right triangle. A proper mathematical demonstration doesn't need much more than logic to be taken as true, even if it is not yet proven in the real world. In fact, as a more modern example, black holes were discovered through an equation long before a real one was found in space. Discovering a rule like this at that time, even if it was only a triangle, was practically revolutionary. It meant that understanding the world was within the reach of logic. Pythagoras considered it something practically divine. This is very important since Pythagoras was apparently deeply religious. As time went by, he moved to an area in the south of what is now Italy, where he founded an academy. However, it was not just a school. In reality, we could call it a religion in which he was considered an envoy to reveal the secrets of the earth. The members, including his wife and daughters, were a very disciplined community of people. In fact, it was very likely that several of the discoveries we attribute to Pythagoras were actually discoveries by someone else in his community, but for practical purposes we will treat everything as his. The Pythagoreans believed that before the universe everything was random, without organization or understandable behavior. Infinity ruled. But this changed when the creator put a limit on the unlimited. That is, the creator transformed the universe into something measurable and organized it in a way that we could understand it. Then, everything started following a logic that is presented to us as mathematics. That is why mathematics and its qualities were so important to the Pythagoreans. Within their mystical thoughts, numbers had meanings. Even numbers represented good and odd numbers represented bad. The number 4 represented justice, and so the sequence continued. Although in today's world numbers are no longer related to ethics and morals, there are some concepts that we do accept more easily. For example, Pythagoras thought that the number 1 meant a point. In geometry, the point is the base of everything that can be formed, which is why 1 was the base of everything else. The number 2 represented a line, 3 represented an area, and 4 a solid. In this way, Pythagoras had already proposed what we know today as spatial dimensions, up to 3D. In addition, he was also interested in the artistic qualities of mathematics, mainly music. You see, music is based on tones and the way we combine them. However, not everything sounds good with everything. The way the notes blend is called harmony. Pythagoras, or some of his followers, noticed that the difference between tones that sound good together is a mathematical relationship. For example, let's imagine that we have a string that produces a sound when played. If we reduce the string to half its length, the musical note will be the same, but in another octave, as it is called. The production of music is also dominated by mathematics. With all these incredible discoveries, the intention of the Pythagoreans was to understand through mathematics how the universe was formed, from the elements to the planets. Today, we know that his dream partly became true. The elements of the periodic table are arranged in such a way that according to mathematical proportions, they share characteristics by rows and columns. The movement of the planets can also be calculated through equations. Pythagoras may not have made these scientific breakthroughs, but the logic he used was very similar to what science requires today. We could say that he was one of the first to apply deductive thinking to science. Furthermore, the fact that he thought that we could discover things through logic even if we do not perceive them with our senses is an idea that to this day allows us to progress. Reason is immortal, all else is mortal. If you enjoyed the explanation we presented in this video, we invite you to discover some more of our content produced by Canic Time. In case there's any doubt, clarification, or topic proposal, we remain at your service. Please feel free to leave your comments, like the video, and subscribe.